Good morning. Welcome to the fourth lecture. In the last video lecture, we have seen some of the Fourier transform of some of the useful functions, and then we have discussing the Fourier transforms. Now, today in this lecture, we have seen some more Fourier transform properties. Okay, so next property we are going to see is convolution and multiplication properties. So convolution and multiplication properties they are stated and defined, and the statement is convolution in time domain results multiplication in its frequency domain, and similarly vice versa, that is multiplication in time domain results convolution in frequency domain, and vice versa, it is a vice versa. So the statement is if x of t is Fourier transform pair with x of omega and y of t is Fourier transform pair with y of omega, then the convolution sum in time domain, that is x of t convoluting with y of t, is Fourier transform pair with x of omega into y of omega. Similarly, multiplication in time domain, that is x of t into y of t, is convolution means frequency domain, x of omega into y of omega. So let us see so proof convolution property in time domain, and I'm trying to prove the convolution property in time domain. So I'm taking the convolution sum x of t into y x2 of t, Fourier transform of x1 of t into x2 of t is equal to integral the function, it is x1 of t convoluting with x2 of t into e power minus j omega t dt. The formula for convolution sum is, as in the first one we have defined this formula, it is x of tau into y of t minus tau d tau e power minus j omega t. So integral minus infinity to plus infinity x1 of tau into integral x2 of just I am trying to rearrange this function. I am letting x of tau outside and x d tau outside, dt inside. So I am grouping the dt and d tau integrals. I am interchanging the order of integration. So this integral, that is integral minus infinity to plus infinity x2 of t minus tau e power minus j omega t dt, applying time shifting property to this one, it is x2 of omega into e power minus j omega e power minus j omega tau. So substituting the same function here, it becomes x1 of tau into x2 of omega. So this is again the x1 of omega, so it is equal to x1 of omega into applying time shifting property to this function. So it left with the required formula. So it is Fourier transform of x1 of tau convoluting with x2 of tau is equal to multiplication with frequency domain. This is convolution property. And similarly, multiplication property is x1 of t into x2 of t. So Fourier transform, taking inverse Fourier transform into the account 1 by 2 integral minus infinity to plus infinity x1 of t into x2 of t, x2 of t into e power minus j omega t dt. So you can solve this in the same manner, you will get the multiplication property. Okay, next one is Parseval's relation or Parseval's theorem, an important theorem that is used to estimate the energy in spectral densities. So SDC. So it defines that energy E is equal to integral minus infinity to plus x square of t dt is equal to 1 by 2 integral minus infinity to plus x of omega whole square d omega. Left side function integral minus infinity to plus infinity x square of t is the energy formula, and if we are having the Fourier transform function directly squaring integrating over minus plus infinity, we get the energy of the function. Proof: integral minus plus infinity can be written as x of t into x of t, x square of t written as x of t into x square of t. So first function I am writing as it is. Second function I am substituting the inverse Fourier transform formula, that is x of t is equal to 1 by t 2 pi integral minus infinity to plus infinity x of omega t power j omega t d omega. So this is equal to 1 by 2 pi integral minus infinity to plus infinity x of omega into minus infinity to plus infinity. I am next changing the order of integration. I am taking x of omega outside, I am letting x of t inside. So it is the inside is formula, it is x of minus omega. Okay, it's because there is minus t will be in the formula, there is no minus, so minus j minus omega t. You can write x of minus omega. X of omega into x of minus omega d omega. So because let us suppose x of t is a complex function, then x of minus omega is complex conjugate function. So mod of x square of d omega. So this is what is your Parseval's relation. This is an important relation. Next one is sampling theorem. So sampling theorem of low pass signals. What is the purpose of sampling? The purpose of sampling of a signal is to convert the basic step, first step of converting an analog signal into the discrete signal. So what is the sampling theorem says? So if any signal can be completely reconstructed from its samples if it is sampled at least greater than its Nyquist rate. Nyquist rate is 2 omega n. If the signal is having its fundamental frequency of omega m, then 2 omega m is Nyquist rate. If your sampling rate is greater than 2 omega m, then that signal can be recovered completely from its samples. So where omega m is the highest frequency component of the message or x of t, and omega s is sampling frequency. So maximum sampling rate is 1 by 2 fm each of them. So Nyquist rate total is 1 by 2 fm. So this is the signal and this is a samples. This is sampled signal. So if these samples you receive, if you add these the amplitudes, that is, it is possible to reconstruct original signals from its samples rather than transmitting entire this signal. You can transmit these samples. So this is called sampling theorem. So we are sampling this signal like this. So to sample this signal like this, what is the mathematical operation that you have to perform means multiply this function with an impulse. This is called impulse train, a train of impulses. All the pulses, impulse functions, and they are placed at a constant distances. So how the train compartments will be there? They are equally spaced in a rail. So that is called impulse train. So it's a train, it's an impulse train equally spaced with tau distance. Okay. So if you multiply these two, you will get a sampled signal. So this tau must be equal to Ts for perfect result. So this xp, resultant sampling function, is equal to multiplication of this function with the pulse train p of t. That is a mathematical. So from the above figure, sample function can be obtained by multiplying x of t function with impulse train. Xp is equal to x of t into p of t. For the Fourier transform of sampled signal is xp is equal to I am taking Fourier transform sample signal is x of t multiplying with p of t. So convolution time domain multiplication is convolution domain. So x of omega is equal to 1 by 2 pi x of omega into p of omega. X of t is x of omega is Fourier transform of x of omega, and p of t is samples function. So Fourier transform of sample function is omega s into sigma minus infinity to plus infinity del of n into omega s. So omega s by 2 pi is equal to x of omega convoluting with del of n. So this x of omega convoluting with del of omega is equal to x of n minus omega s. So x of omega will be shifted by n omega s. N equal to 0, it is x of omega minus omega s. If n equal to 0, it is x of omega. N equal to 1, it is x of omega minus omega s. If n equal to 2, it is x of omega minus 2. Every omega s, that is n omega s, 1 omega s, 2 omega s, we are having the entire spectrum of x of omega. It just shifted back, similarly left side. So if you substitute the n values, x of omega plus x, omega minus omega s plus see here everywhere we are having x. X is the amplitude, magnitude. Everywhere we are having x, but it's shifted by omega s, 2 omega s, 3 omega, and they are added. So the frequency domain representation, this is x of omega, spectrum of x of omega, and this is the spectrum of your impulse train. If you multiply these two, everywhere we are having the same x of omega, but it's shifted version. So to reconstruct the signal, at least this entire signal must be positive. What is the length of this one? Minus omega to plus omega s. So it is 2 omega. We know that much of bandwidth is required to transmit the function. So remember that. So this is the frequency. So based on this sampling, if fs is less than 2fm, what happens? If fs is greater than 2fm, what happens? If fs is less than 2fm, that is called undersampling. If fs is greater than 2fm, that is called oversampling. In general, undersampling will results the aliasing, a loss of information, whereas oversampling results the enhancement of the bandwidth, the required bandwidth will be enhanced. But practically, if you see in a practical scenario, no sampling will takes place at exactly Nyquist rate, that is at fs equal to 2fm, that the sampling rate will not be takes place. Practically, the sampling rate is at least 10 or 5 times greater than the fm, that is fs is approximately taken greater than 5fm, then only exact recover of the signal. If you sample at 2fm, you will recover, but error will be more. If you take a number of samples, error will be minimized. But by taking number of samples into account, the bandwidth will be increased. So there must be an optimization between the sampling rate and a bandwidth. So the designer has to take care about this concept. Okay. Undersampling got aliasing effect, and oversampling got increasing of bandwidth. So the aliasing effect will be shown here. What happens if see, this is exact sampling when you sample at Nyquist rate. If you sample beyond Nyquist rate, you will get like, so if there is no overlapping takes place, so full reconstruction of signal is possible. But if you undersample that one, see, the spectrum is overlapped, that information has lost. That loss of information is called as aliasing effect. So aliasing effect will find in the undersampling case where omega s is less than 2fm. So this is about the sampling theorem. With this, we can with this the second unit has been finished. Thank you.